So on that note, I'm going to open our Granby Conservation meeting at 7:01 p.m. on Tuesday, August 9th. Starting with our building and board health permits. Why don't we just go right to Bob and just, get that one out of the way.
Okay, good evening, folks.
I have somebody here. Hold on. I had somebody coming here earlier.
Okay.
Oh, okay, sure.
We had signed in earlier. I'm sorry, Bob, what's your address there that we're going for?
71 West Street. Kathy should have sent you a PDF of that.
I'll look for it later. We have a 591 Amherst Road. Bob Blanchard. Mr. Blanchard, come on forward and tell us about your project.
Single family house. Walk up basement. I have opportunity to do the septic design. Okay.
Okay. Is it a new construction? All of it? Let's take a look at your site plan. Do you have your site plan? Okay. Amanda, you want to look up 591 Amherst Road?
Between two houses.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, Dave, can you do that, please?
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Ed, Dave's doing graphics tonight. He's got the control of the graphics board.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
there we are. Thank you. $591.
It should be a vacant lot. Correct?
Yes, it is. It's a big estate lot.
You guys have it located?
I would say it's right here. It's pretty large.
That looks
Oh.
correct.
Amherst Road, south.
Yeah, so it's a flag lot.
Okay, so what's he want to do, Ed?
He doesn't have any single family house, but I don't have a site plan to show you guys.
Okay, who's the engineer or surveyor on the project?
RK Miles is the engineer.
RK Miles, that's the builder.
I'm the builder. I'm the owner builder.
Okay.
I had Laura Gay.
Sure.
Ed, ask him if does he have a septic plan done for the project?
Bob Sheen did the septic. Has it been approved by the Board of Health?
Yes.
It has been approved by the Board of Health. When was it approved? Do you know? 2 days ago, Bill. So on Amherst Road, 2 days ago, they approved the septic design, Board of Health.
But there's no drawings, Ed?
There's no drawings that are before us. Did you?
Okay. This is a really large lot.
Right.
Yes, so again, this is news to us. We can't really make any determination without any review. There's nothing to review yet.
All right. So the commissions want to see the septic plan and they want to see a site layout plan where the building's going?
Yeah. You got driveway, usual stuff, a little site sketch. Doesn't have to be grade A survey, but at least a readable site sketch with any resource areas shown.
Mr. Blanchard's pulling up something on his phone. He might have something on his phone that has a site plan. I'll switch the camera around to take a look at it.
Janice, are you here?
Yes.
Janice, do you know anything about this?
No.
Does anyone else in the commission know anything about this?
I do not.
No. Take a look. Here's the site plan on his phone. The position of the house is shown. I don't know if you guys can see that.
No.
Sorry, Ed. Could he?
Hold on, guys.
Could he email me? Could he
email that?
email everybody the site plan? You know, this is absurd. going
we
this in-depth on a project,
No,
on a building permit app. This is absurd what we're doing.
no, he's got to have drawings, so
I agree. I agree.
sorry.
Hold on, guys. So, hold on, Mr. Blanchard. Do you want him to submit paper copies of the site plan? Is that what you're
Yes,
asking?
please. Yeah. Why don't we table him until next month? We have to have an idea what's going on.
Like, I've been to the building inspector so many times.
I understand.
Can I run home and get something?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's just come back.
I just wasn't so happy. I'll be back.
Come on back and, we'll fit you in
Okay.
somewhere. He's gonna come back with it. If that. He's gonna come back with the plan.
Yeah, have him scan it and email it to everybody. We all have to see what's going on here.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay,
This is crazy. This is absurd.
Understood. Why don't we move on to the next building? Anybody else here for a building permit? Alan, you're here for a building permit? Sign off on what, Max? Okay. Alan Katowicz is here. I'm gonna recuse myself because I worked, with Alan on many projects from a long time. He's got two projects, obviously on Maximilian, which you guys reviewed, and, Pleasant Street, Mr. Toth, Gary Toth, the painter. I think you guys are familiar with that. So why don't let Alan present? Come on up, Alan.
Ed, let's clarify this. Alan's on the, he's on the agenda already. Is this a different project?
It's Maximilian, right? You need a building permit for Maximilian, correct? A sign off on Maximilian. You guys gave him the NOI or a certificate of, I'm sorry, order of conditions a few months ago. Now he's gonna start the foundation shortly.
That's the one that Dave and I visited on August 1st, looking at the mulch berm.
Right.
Correct.
All right. So this is the building permit review.
Building permit for Maximilian Drive so I can put the foundation in. What lot number? Well drillings, the well in.
Lot 2, I guess, or lot
One.
No, they don't have 1 and 2. It's funny.
I think one of them is H.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, G and
One of them
H.
is one hyphen H.
That's the one you're asking for? I'm sorry. I'm gonna flip the camera on if that's okay. So Alan's here and he's just looking to get that. So you have well, you guys obviously, you did the order of conditions, so you know what the site looks like.
Yeah, let's defer to Janice and Dave. They're more familiar with the site than the rest of us.
Sure.
Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, go ahead, Dave. He's the Concom member. It looked fine to me.
Is it the same plan that we've seen before, Mr. Katowicz?
Yes, sir.
So, and this is for my familiarity. The second lot wasn't sold yet, but you were preparing the first lot closest to the cul-de-sac, correct? So it's that location?
That's correct.
So we're really only looking at it for a building permit. And I think that's totally outside the conservation jurisdiction at this point. So I would say I would put it up for approval, Bill.
Okay. Alan, is this known as 1H or 1I?
1H, and then there's 1H and 1G, and we're just looking at this point at 1H.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask Janice and Dave. Did Alan install the wood chip shavings as a reasonable substitute for a silt fence? Was that in place?
He did, and we documented it in photographs, but that's not related to this lot though, Bill. That's what I'm trying to discern. He's got 2 lots, and only one of the lots impacted the wetland buffer area.
Okay. Did he have a common driveway or 2 driveways parallel to one another?
2 driveways that are parallel.
Okay. And is the wood chips to the west of the westerly driveway?
Yes.
Yes. If the wood chips
Okay.
wood chips are closest to the wetland buffer.
Oh, okay. So the point is the wood chips will serve to protect both driveways during construction.
They could, yes, they could, even though it's all flat. It's pretty flat there, but yes.
Okay, so given the information, I moved in, we approved Lot H for a building permit. And Janice or Dave, make a note of this, please, and I'll do the same, and I'll tell Mr. Briggs in the morning, but I move we approve this with no further action.
I will second it, Bill.
Okay, and any other discussion on this matter? Anyone? Okay, all in favor of approving Lot 1H for building, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm recusing myself.
Yep, I got that. I got
Yeah,
it.
Ed's recused. No negative votes heard. Passed unanimously with the recusal. Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Alan.
Kevin's here. He could sign the permit then for Alan, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, you could sign it right now if you like, yeah.
Maximilian. And Alan, you want to talk about, Mr. Yeah, just initialize it. And Bill, you're going to tell, the building inspector?
Do we print their name?
I will, I will.
That's all we do is initialize.
And have Kevin sign, if he can sign a physical copy right now, that would be good too.
He just did.
Okay,
Just did.
wonderful.
That's ours.
Okay.
Now, Alan also has a project for Gary Toth, the painter. You want to talk about that? I'm sure you guys are familiar with that on Pleasant Street near,
That's 81 Pleasant Street.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one with the yellow flagging tape around the foundation. Yes. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
Well, I'm here in behalf of Gary Toth, who could not attend this evening. And he has signatures from Board of Health for well and sewer. Highway supervisor signed, Dave did, and chief of police and planning board. I have an affidavit in my folder for their approval. And so we're looking to get this sign off from conservation, so we may obtain a building permit for that project as well.
If I could jump in on this, Bill, Dave Desolé, I had a chance. Is that all right, Bill?
Oh, of course. And I think Amanda might want to opine on this as well. Go ahead, Dave.
I reviewed my documents on what we have on this particular project, and I found one drawing of the proposed site plan with the building located on it. My uncomfortableness at this point is I attended 2 different site visits with the applicant here, Mr. Toth, and we talked about some sort of protection, wetland protection, silt fence, all sorts of different things, a rain garden. And he seemed to understand, at least from my perspective, what we were talking about, but we have no record. I have no documentation other than that single drawing that shows the proposed building, which I believe Mr. Kotowitz has, but we have no documentation of where a silt fence might go, what he's going to do with any rain runoff. I did attend one of the earlier meetings with Amanda, and we spoke in depth about having some sort of a rain garden to catch runoff from the I don't know if it's paved area, Amanda, or he was talking about a gravel driveway, but we had spoke of that. And
I think it was the roof, actually, because the pipes currently go into the wetland.
Okay.
And so that, yeah, as they redeveloped, they would want to just consider that. But also the big thing was half that lot is wetland. So they need to flag it and they need to show us where the erosion controls are. We need to know where the work is happening in relationship to the wetland.
So, but unfortunately, I have no documentation on that. So I can't move to approve the knowing where the wetlands are in relationship to this work. They're well within the 100 feet. And we don't have any evidence that at this point, they would even have to put any silt fence in. And I know we do. So I think there's more work that's needed before we would sign off on that. at least from a conservation perspective.
Okay,
Yeah.
Amanda?
Yeah, again, just kind of reiterating that wetland piece, it's pretty clear where the transition point is. There is a very clear slope, change in grade between the, like, east and west side. So it's pretty easy to tell where the wetland is, but we just need that kind of on a plan and documented before.
Yeah, Dave, would you be kind enough to go to Mass Mapper real quick and call up that property on Mass Mapper, because you do have control of the screen, if you'd be so kind.
I'm doing it right now.
Is there a plan that has been submitted to the building inspector that we could look at to make sure it's the same as what we were looking at before?
Come on.
Is there a plan?
I'm not sure if he has one or not. I have one in the truck site plan that I showed you.
Yeah.
I think there was a construction, there was an architectural, concept plan for the garage. But I didn't see any site plan of any consequence.
Come on.
Well,
This is here,
Yeah,
basically.
that's fine. That's fine, Dave. That's
That's
fine.
fine, okay.
Yeah.
No. So Alan has an architectural site plan in his truck.
Hmm.
I've seen it. It's pretty limited as far as there's no topography shown on it. Does show the building, does show a schematic of sort of a gravelly parking area, sort of a circle or and a swale that really aren't detailed, but again, it's from an architect. So that's the piece. More than willing to bring that in to let the commission look at it, but I don't know if that would answer Dave's questions. There's no wetlands shown on this plan.
Yeah, I'm trusting Dave and Amanda want to see a little more, detailed site plan or site sketch. Is that not true, Amanda?
Yeah. I mean, it could even just be basic. It seemed like the previous drawings we saw indicated it was primarily on the west side of the lot where the work will take place. But just having the wetland line on that map would be really useful,
Okay.
just to document it. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of just lost forever.
Right,
Okay.
that's the point I'm making. And this,
Yeah,
of course, shows the old farmhouse that was there. That's not the new proposed house or garage.
No,
Alan, can you make that happen, or have Steve make that happen quickly?
As far as planning it,
we need, are you guys asking for wetland delineation?
Well, yeah, I'd like a delineation and the flag shown on a plan with, reasonable accuracy.
I think we must have something from the previous determination. I'm pretty sure we do. It was a while ago, so it's a little fuzzy, but
No, we don't, because that's the reason we only gave them an RDA for the demolition.
I
Because we
agree.
needed more information
Okay.
before they did any earthwork.
okay,
I agree with Amanda. Yep.
okay.
And like, I don't know how detailed of a delineation, like, I'm not trying to make this a super expensive project. It's just, we need it documented as part of, the application.
And didn't we talk about some sort of a silt fence, Amanda, between the work area and the wetland area? You're within the
Yes, and so
100
that would be on the
feet.
plan as well. It would
So we
be
need to
having that,
see soil erosion control system.
yeah.
Okay. So Al, do you understand what we're asking for?
yeah, you're looking for a more defined site plan with location of, the swales, leading toward that, and
Yeah, I think what you want to show the garage. I want to show your utilities, your sewer hookup, your water line coming in, show your wetlands, show where your downspouts from your gutter are going to drain the roof. Again, is it a monoslope roof or is it gable pitch? What's the roof
It's a
configuration, Alan?
Gable pitch.
So you'd be
So-
catching the gutters.
5 pitch.
All right, so the rear gutters are gonna tend to flow toward the rear of the property, which is kind of north or northeasterly. Yeah,
Yeah,
like Amanda says, that gutter water has to be treated somehow if it's in the vicinity of the wetland. So you gotta put either some dry wells or a little drain basin or something in there to take care of that.
And we had talked about a rain garden type design, which seemed to be acceptable at the time.
I mean,
Yeah.
anything, whatever works for them. Like, we don't need to, be too nitpicky about it. Our goal is just to make sure there's no erosion into the wetland and to
Okay.
clarify that you can have your pipes discharging into the wetland. So you can't just like bury them underground and have them discharge back there. That kind of thing. But however
Okay.
they want to manage it, that's up to them. If they want to use a rain garden, cool. If not, dry wells work.
Okay, okay, Al, you got your marching orders, you know what you're gonna do?
yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, sir, thank you. We'll see you next month. Go ahead, Amanda.
So that one,
Our
Thank
next
you.
one.
thanks.
So, do we have any other building Board of Health permits?
Where we have Bob Sheehan for 71 West Street.
Okay, so we can take that one if there's no more walk-ins. Bob, are you still here?
I am.
Oh, great.
We've got a, repair septic system design for 71 West Street. Existing system to the house, which was, built in about 1952. The repair septic design, excavation will happen 53 feet away, or the closest part will be 53 feet from the flagged wetland. The wetlands were flagged by Ward Smith of Wendell Wetland Services. This design was approved by the Board of Health a week ago this evening. We've got a silt fence barrier along a brush line. In all honesty, folks, this is the best we can do with what we have to work with the existing conditions and such.
Okay, if I could speak to this. Thanks, Bob. Yeah, we approved this at BOH last week. I call your attention to 1003, paragraph 3, and that's a presumption regarding CMR 15, which is Title 5. And the new presumption, and Janice, this changed from 2008 to 2014. I know we had talked about it, is that if we have 50-foot setback over a resource area, that's deemed to be satisfactory if the system is compliant with Title 5, which this one is. The only issue would be, I guess it would be a moot point for us to go out there and make sure that they're 53 feet off the wetland. But as I recall on the plan, there's no way you can physically push the system further away from the wetland because of the way the property bounds are set up. Again, take a look at, what is it, 71 West, Bob?
It is, yes.
Yeah, Dave, could you call this up on Mass Mapper, please?
I have it on the screen right now,
It's
Bill.
up.
Okay.
Right in front.
A lot of the layers aren't on, so you can't actually see the like intermittent stream hydrologic connection. So the
Yeah.
wetland actually it goes up further north towards the house. But doesn't
Okay.
this just need an RDA? I mean, I feel like it's a no-brainer because it's a repair.
Yeah, well,
but it
I
is our
would
jurisdiction.
argue based on 1003-3 that it wouldn't even require an RDA. I would be willing to let this one go without a permit because it's presumptively approved through the wetlands reg via Title 5 reg. That's my feeling on this. But if you guys want to have them go through an RDA process, that would be fine. But I call your attention to a 1003 paragraph 3, presumptions regarding Title 5 designed leach fields.
But I mean, that's the purpose of the RDA, is that they would just bring that to us and so that we didn't do this twice. You know what I mean? Like they should have just had an RDA to begin with.
Well, you can make that argument. Bob, would you be good to do an RDA on this?
Actually, I would not be, unfortunately. The property owner, as I understand it, is going to have difficulty affording the expense to install this as it is. Ward Smith, my understanding, is out like 3 months to do an RDA. There's virtually, I was asked today by another engineer, who can we get to do wetlands? And the bucket is empty. So we were hoping to get this in with the understanding that it is greater than 50 feet, as Title V states. Granby supersedes that by saying 100 feet from wetlands.
That's for new construction. Dave, do you have access to Bob's septic design in a PDF format that you can put up on the screen, please?
Oh, no, I don't, Bill. Has that been pushed out?
Bob, have you
Also-
sent?
I sent that to Kathy on Tuesday evening last week or Wednesday morning.
All right, let me look.
We'll have to do a search then.
The RDA form is so simple that it's something that, I mean, applicants should be able to fill those ones out themselves. They literally just have to say that thing, that it's 53 feet off the wetland, it's replacement. Like it's more that it should have been done beforehand, because it is silly to have you guys come back.
Well, let me ask you this question, Amanda. Would you be willing to let the RDA go through without a plan and map of the site?
I would just use a GIS map and just draw over it.
Because this
I mean, I could like throw it together right now. The only thing about RDAs is that there's the public notification requirement.
Well, see, that's the point. That's a month delay right there. See, that's the point. That's a month delay right now.
But ideally, okay, if maybe we could let this one slide, I guess, but ideally we would want people to just do the process in the first place.
Well, why don't we do,
Instead
let's get Bob's septic design up on screen so everybody can see it.
I don't have it.
All right, I think I might have it in my Board of Health file, so just, if you give me a minute, maybe I can find that and send it to you, so just stand by. I need about 5 computers.
And this is Janice. I have a question too. Bill, I think we did something with another ancient septic system a few months ago where we looked into the same section of 1003, and then it says towards the end of it that there was something about the setbacks distance specified shall not be required for renovation or replacement of septic systems constructed prior to the effective date of 310 CMR 10, provided no alternative location is available on the lot and such work has been approved by the local Board of Health or the department as required by law. So I'm not sure if that's exactly what fits here, but it sounds like it might be. I don't remember what the date of the regs were, but wasn't it somewhere in the 80s?
That, what you're reading,
83.
Janice, that's the 2008 reg. They changed it in 2014, unfortunately.
Well, I'm reading the 2014 booklet right here.
Oh, you are? Okay. All right.
Yep.
Well, if that's the case, it's a done deal.
If that's what, I'm not quite sure how to interpret it.
Yeah,
but-
again, I'm trying to. Bob, could you send me that plan electronically right now? Is that possible?
Yeah, Bill, what's your email?
Yeah, just send it to my private one. It's n1cq@comcast.net.
N1CQ
Yeah,
at Comcast
yes.
.net.
And then once I get
Okay,
that, I'll send it to Dave and Dave can put it up on the screen.
Okay. Okay, it's on its way.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, excellent, Bob. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna
Yep.
send this to, I'm gonna send this to Dave now. And Dave, you can put that up on screen if you could, please. Yeah, there's the plan. Okay, that's good. Of course, the trick is, Dave, you're gonna have to rotate it 90 degrees, but I trust that's small potatoes to do.
I think so. Yeah. Everybody's gonna have to cock their head. That's how you'll do it.
Or we could turn our computers.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I'm
Mine's
doing
too
that.
heavy to turn.
Yeah, again, if you look at the mass mapper and what Bob is showing here, my opinion is it's consistent with the rough mapping
Long.
given by the state. Yeah.
Those are long trenches.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the problem. Bob had to move it off to get his 50 feet. He had to move it to the east as much as possible. And in
Right.
fact, Bob, didn't we, you're going to have to locate that property line too. It's such a tight fit there.
And as I had explained at the Board of Health meeting, we've got an iron pipe property pin right at the property line where where the leaching facility is going.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, if you look at this design, there's absolutely no other location for it, because if you shift it to the north, then you're encroaching on the well. So you don't want to encroach on the well. And again, you can't go any further to the west because that reduces the separation off the wetland. And if you go to the east, you're on the neighbor's land. So you're
Right.
kind of boxed in there.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, this plan would have been perfect
Yeah,
to go with the RDA.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, whatever we do, I think it's fine.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
now, Janice, based on your reading of that exception, does it or does it not necessarily require an RDA to accompany that?
I don't think it actually says, other than it says that the presumption is considered overcome. See, the setback distance isn't necessary if it's an older system prior to the effective date of the regs, and there's no
Okay.
alternative location.
Well, again, my personal opinion is I think there's nothing to be gained by doing a formal RDA except getting a $150 fee from the applicant and taking another 30 days to get this accomplished. So, with due respect what Amanda's saying, which is totally correct, but I think given this scenario, I think it might not be a bad idea to simply approve as Bobby's submitted this.
Is that a motion? Is that a motion, Bill?
It is.
Is there a second?
Dave will second.
Discussion? All in favor, I guess?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so we get a permit for septic system. Bob, you're all set. Bill, do you want to relay that information to whoever's in charge of that? I don't know if the building inspector's in charge of that or.
Yeah, I'll do so. Again, I don't like to have to do this at this rapid a pace, but again, there's really no other option on this particular site. I think, Janice, write a little note to yourself to do a little further research on the protocol for handling this particular presumption.
All right, we're up on 7:30.
Okay.
Mr.
This is Bob Sheehan. I just want to say thank you very much to the commission. I appreciate it, as well as I'm sure once I communicate with the property owner, they will greatly appreciate what you've done. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Give Mr.
Yeah.
Scully your best. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. Good night,
Okay.
all.
Bye-bye.
Before we start the public hearings, Mr. Blanchard from 591 Amherst Road came back with his septic plan, I believe. Did you want to hear, look at it real quick? I don't know if there's any issues with this or if this can go fairly quickly. Are you guys
Are we
willing to
gonna
do
see
that or
it?
you want to go to the public hearings?
Are we gonna see it though, Ed?
Yes, he brought, he's got a copy here. I can flip the camera around if we get this done in 2 minutes, I guess. See what we're looking. So
I really can't see it.
here's
Yeah, I
Amherst
can't
Road.
see. Okay.
Yeah,
Do
Dave,
you see that, guys, or
Dave,
am I?
could you get rid of your screen share and then the images will show up larger on our screens?
Yep.
Yeah, close your screen share if you would.
Okay. Is that what you're looking for, Bill?
Well, I'm actually looking for, I would also like to see Ed's plan. Ed, could you have this gentleman email
We
us
can't-
that plan?
Yeah, we can't do it over the phone, Ed.
Yeah, I'm not seeing an image large enough to
So-
even make a comment on, Ed.
I think we're gonna have to go through a more normal process that's
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
pushing it.
I agree. Have him prepare a submission package for next month, if you would, please.
You want to hang around till after the public hearings? He can email to you, Bill, and then you can just send it out.
Yeah, Janice, could you take
Yeah,
care
that
of
works.
the legit, let Janice do this. Janice, take care of the logistics on this, please.
I mean, in terms of getting a
We're gonna
copy of
get-
the
we'll get
plan
you
or what?
Yeah, coordinate with this landowner to get all his documents in order before
Okay.
we start looking at things. Thank you.
Okay.
You have his, Janice's email?
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Kevin will get you that information.
Okay, Amanda, let's go to public hearings, please.
Okay, so our first hearing scheduled for 7:30 is an NOI GCC 2207 number 165-0356 filed by Patricia Leavenworth for Mass DOT for proposed Route 202 project intersection improvements at 5 Corner and School Street Roundabout located in the town of Granby. Patricia, are you here?
Do we have a representative from Mass DOT here? So do you, I guess? Mr. Tario, would you be presenting? Nathan? All right, we're getting some feedback on my end. I'm gonna,
Yeah, what I would recommend, Ed, if there's more than one person in the Carnegie Hall, please have everybody mute their microphone except the person talking. Otherwise, we're gonna get feedback. So if Bob Notario is gonna present, then Ed and everybody else should mute their mic. Okay, now I don't hear anybody. I think Ann is Bob Notario. Bob, is that you? See, we're still getting feedback now. Maybe if Bob uses Ed's device was performing pretty well. Maybe Bob could just use Ed's device to transmit.
can Bob share his screen? He's
No.
gonna share his screen.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I can see on your on your Android, Ed, image is good, Mike, the audio is good. And if he could upload his image online
he should
here
know,
somehow, it'd be great.
Bill, we have their entire package.
I know
So
we do.
If there would be a way, if he could tell me which file to open and he could speak to what we have on our screen, that might be a way to do it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Bob and I spoke this afternoon via telephone. Bob, if you would do so on your presentation, just cue David as to which file to open, and Dave can open it for everybody online, okay? I think the key one for wetlands is going to be the 6 or 7 digit number that says ENV revised. I think that's going to be the key one for us.
Should I open it now or?
Yeah, sure. That's it. That's it. Okay, Bob.
All right, how's the audio coming in?
Perfect.
good.
Loud and clear.
All right, thanks for having us. My name is Robert Ontario from SDOT. I'm here with Ethan Minot, one of the designers on the project. So we've been talking about this for a while, but we finally arrived to the notice of intent. So thank you very much. I was going to start off this evening with a real quick, just really some basic bulleted points of the resource areas, if that was okay with the commission.
Yeah, Bob, why don't we even go back a couple steps and just outline.
So up on the screen, you'll see
what the two projects are. What
east
the two
side
projects
of Five Corners intersection with, if you were looking at the very bottom of the plan on the left side of the plan sheet, that's where Cumberland Farms is. So the wetlands and resource areas in that vicinity of the Five Corners intersection, they're in the general area. There's a stream to the west of that intersection and a stream to the south, both of which meet Stony Brook, approximately 2,300 feet to the west. On that plan sheet that you're looking at there, on the north and south side of Route 202, there are wetlands, just several feet off the side of the slope of the road. And on the south side, the wetland complex there on the south side of Route 202 goes into a much larger complex, which it begins off as like at least 15 acres of wetlands that lead down to a stream down to the south. Other resource areas, if you go to the next plan sheets, if whoever has the PDF up. Okay, this is a roundabout at School Street. The resource areas at School Street, you can look on that plan and you'll see the riverfront area extending from the far right side of the plan, extending towards the roundabout. That's the riverfront area that's showing there on that plan sheet. So there's Turkey Hill Brook on the very eastern edge of that plan sheet, and it flows northerly. So that's going to be important as we talk about the design and the comments from DEP and just when we do the site visit and things. So just remember that the Turkey Hill Brook flows from the south to the north toward the Forge Pond. So we have wetlands on both sides of the stream. We have riverfront area, of course, extending from the stream, bank. And of course, as we've talked in the past, at School Street, pretty much the entire intersection is within FEMA flood zones, better known as bordering land subject to flooding. So those are the resource areas, just in a quick nutshell for the project. And the impact areas, while we have the plan sheets up, we have, there's 4 different things that we'll be talking about as we talk tonight and in subsequent site visit and meetings. So we're looking at this plan sheet now. So we have some work within riverfront. doing some resurfacing, some side slope work. We have some minor impacts, what I consider minor impacts to riverfront. And for an example, we in the inner riverfront or inner riparian zone for permanent impacts to riverfront, we have 6 square feet. The next impact location on this sheet I wanted to mention would be on the bottom right-hand side of the roundabout as School Street extends south from the roundabout. So it'd be on the left-hand side of that plan sheet, going towards the bottom of the plan sheet. You'll see an impact area there of BVW, which we have for reconfiguring the street and the sidewalk there. And then, of course, we have the roundabout and that intersection, which is, again, just about entirely within bordering land subject to flooding. So we have impacts to BLSF throughout that entire area with a compensatory storage area, which we can talk about very soon up further north on School Street. If you scroll back, please, to the plan sheet that was previous to this, over back at 5 Corners, I'll just mention real briefly. Looking at this plan sheet again, just as a reminder, Cumberland Farms would be on the bottom left of that plan sheet. If you look at the very bottom of the plan sheet, you'll see some hatch marks there and a proposed driveway. That is a driveway we're proposing on the east side of Cumberland Farms, and it'll be impacts to BVW. So that would be our second BVW impact location. And much further to the right on that plan sheet, on the south side of Route 202, you'll see a rectangular shaped hatch marked area, which would be our proposed wetland replication area for the BVW impacts that you see on this plan sheet and the ones that we just looked at on the south side of the roundabout. We have a few hundred feet
Bob, to clarify,
replication area than we have proposed impacts at this time.
Yeah.
So those are your basic impact locations, the resource areas in a nutshell. We touched on a project a little bit, but I wanted to go over the resource areas first because a number of times in the past we talked about the project a little bit. So I'll stop here for discussion points or questions, and we can do just a brief overview of the project if you'd like.
Yeah, Bob, can you hear me okay? Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Bob hear me?
Bill, I just turned the mic on my side, so he can hear you now.
Oh, okay, Bob. The thing that's somewhat unusual, at least for us, is that you've got 2 discrete sites in town, several miles apart, and you're using a replication at one site to take care of the needed rep on both sites, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Again, just to clarify, this is somewhat unusual, but I know it's well within a standard practice in the current policy of DEP. Okay, that's good. As far as I can recall, pre-COVID, we haven't talked about this since COVID hit, but pre-COVID, we retained Emily Stockman to do a review and site visit concerning the compensatory storage aspect of the project. And I believe that's ironed out. You can talk to that as we move forward, Bob, but I believe all that's ironed out, and we hopefully won't have to revisit that as part of this activity. So that's enough on my end. Anyone else have any comments or questions for Robert?
I don't.
I did have. I haven't looked at DEP's questions, but have they all been addressed? I know that DEP has a new task force specific for DOT projects to make sure they're being thoroughly reviewed and meeting all the standards. So if they're cool with it, I feel like it's probably good.
Bob, you might want to speak to that Stormwater Standard 6 and the synopsis involving it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I thought the DEP comments were, well thought out, pretty thorough for the project. I didn't really see anything that was, like I was going to disagree or anything like that. As far as the comment on the stormwater standards, let me see if I have it here in front of me. And while I'm pulling it up, I will mention that in general, when I was saying earlier about the flow, this may or may not help this question, but when I was saying about the flow of Turkey Hill Brook, which goes from the south to the north to the pond receives that water, and then the outlet into Bachelor Brook is at the north of that, and it flows westerly. So Turkey Hill Brook is a cold water fishery resource, right?
Right.
So our
Yes.
stormwater outlet, which it isn't a direct outlet to the stream or brook, and we're actually pulling it back a few feet. Is that correct? Yeah. So the outlet is on the north side of Route 202, which is the pond side, and which the water is flowing north. So if you followed a raindrop and it fell on the roundabout, it discharged out as water flow out our outlet. It would be flowing
Thanks,
into
Dave.
the pond side or north side of Route 202, not into the actual flow or stream channel of a brook, which is a cold water fishery resource.
Okay, so what's the nature of the terrain between the stormwater outlet and the brook proper? That is, how much land does it have to traverse, and what sort of vegetation occupies that terrain?
From the outlet?
What vegetation occupies that range between the outlet and the brook?
Yes,
That's correct.
roughly speaking.
Photo here. But it's small woody vegetation, herbaceous vegetation. And the delineation, well, we can see it out in the field, but the wetland delineation isn't too far from that outlet. So there would be some.
So, and again, I suspect you have your
vegetation.
Okay, you might have your
the outlet
hydrologist.
and the pond.
Yeah.
Hold
okay.
on, Bob.
Yeah. Question, Bob. So your hydrologist, what's the peak flow out of that particular structure closest to the Turkey Brook? Is it 1 CFS with a 100-year storm? Is it 10 CFS? Is it 0.1 CFS? What's the order of magnitude of the peak flow rate?
Okay, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I will get you that number. And
okay, because again, I'm just trying
we are pulling that outlet back several feet. We're going to have stone pipe ends at the outlet there.
Okay.
And
again, I'm trying to look at it from
increase the distance between that outlet and the resource area, which would be the pond side, not the brook.
Okay.
And you can see it if you want to look on the plans.
Ed, can you hear me?
See it.
Yes.
If you zoom in on the plan that's up there now, it would be it's on the north side of Route 202.
Right.
And you see like a darker kind of area. If you zoom in on that, that is the stormwater outlet.
Okay. And my point is, Bob, from an environmental perspective, if indeed it's a cold water fishery, which again, it's questionable if it's going into Forge Pond, but I think the suspended solid concentration would be key. So as long as we have a low enough flow coming out of the pipe and we have enough vegetated terrain, that should ferret out any suspended solids prior to dumping into Turkey Hill Brook. Again, you want the turbidity to be as low as possible. I think you meet that standard. I don't see why you wouldn't, but at least it's a good discussion point that we should be taking a look at.
Additionally, I would say as a cold water fishery, we'd be concerned about temperature as well. So having that vegetation infiltration before it reaches the cold water fishery is the critical point.
That's right. That helps as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't see it being a big problem, but again, it's something we should pay attention to as well. Thank you. Thanks, Bob.
So
Absolutely.
just to reiterate my question from before, have you guys finished like replying to DEP's comments or not yet?
I have basic responses to the DEP comments. My intent for the first meeting was to meet live in person and obviously online and discuss the comments as we go. I was fully anticipating having at least a couple of meetings with the commission and a site visit. So I'm not trying to rush through and just close out all the comments just in one fell swoop, if you will. I'm under the approach always as everyone's got an opinion, and I'd like to incorporate as much thought process and get back as much detailed information as I could. I do have response to those comments, which we can go over the comments depending on what time you have in your agenda. I didn't want to assume how much time we had or anything like that. And again, I knew we were going to be meeting a couple of times at least. So that was our approach, to just like holistically have a healthy discussion with those comments, which again, I think are pretty well thought out.
Bob, does
I
it
think
not makes? Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
I was just going to say that I'm glad you're not looking to close it tonight, but also I would be happy to see how DEP responds and if they're satisfied with your responses. Just because I've worked on a couple of their Mass DOT projects and they have been very, very focused lately on getting all the stormwater stuff and really nitpicking projects to make sure that they're very, very compliant. And so I would love to see their responses when we get there.
Sure.
A question for the commission at large. Does it make sense to do a site visit for this project, or do we not want to do a site visit for this project?
I'm sort of familiar with that intersection on School and 202. We've all been through that intersection. Same thing with the five corners. I personally don't want to do another site visit out there, but if other commissioners do,
Frankly,
I don't have time.
yeah, I think it's probably not necessary. I recommend we opt out for many reasons, including parking on the side of that road is very dangerous, and that's part of the reason we're putting in this roundabout. So it's a very dangerous place to hang out.
Bill, my opinion on the site visit is, without having, as we're all saying, we've been through this intersection probably 1,000 times, so we're very familiar with it. But without having anything staked or anything like that, a site visit for me is really not worth it. I know Turkey Hill Brook is there. I've been over it thousands of times. Everything looks familiar. It's very interesting how the roundabout actually works and fits into this intersection. I'm looking forward to seeing the completed work. But at this early stage, I don't see a benefit in a site visit, quite honestly.
Okay, Janice, your comment?
Well, I'm not as familiar with the intersections as you are, obviously. But I'll leave it up to you guys. It's your commission. You know the area better than I do.
Yeah, I would recommend if anybody does go out there, have an orange vest on or something, because it's extremely dangerous in that intersection.
It's a dangerous corner. It really is.
So people don't look, they roll through that stop sign, and coming down from Belchertown, they go too fast. So I would recommend not to do the inspection. And like I said, we're all familiar with that intersection. Janice may not be, but I would not recommend Janice going out there by herself or anything that.
I agree. Or we can call Chief O'Grady and have a police detail. for
The police
site visit.
detail, then that's
But again,
being serious. It's not.
Yeah. I agree. I think I'm gonna opt out of a site visit on this,
Okay.
unless you guys want to do one. I think we could opt out on this.
All right.
So do you want to continue the meeting till the next, and have Mr. Notario answer the questions from DEP and forward us the response by email?
Yeah, let's do that. So
Is that what we're asking for, Amanda?
I think that sounds good. I would also like to see the page for the wetland replication, if you guys have like the planting plans and stuff.
Okay.
I don't think that was included in our package.
Do you have a
For next
plan?
That's not in this package?
The restoration.
I didn't
or-
see it.
We have a planting plan we have a planting plan which we can share for the wetland replication area. We also have a basic planting plan for the roundabout. We can't get too crazy inside of there just because it's something we'll have to maintain as well. But we do have planting laid out. We have a certified landscape architect, Andy Schlenker, who's working with us on this project, and he'll be working with us all the way through construction.
Bob, are any of these plans in our package that we have currently?
I don't think so. I think it said it was page 64 or something, in one of the notes.
Bob,
That's okay. I don't need it tonight.
I don't see it.
Bob, one good point, if I could, please. Who's going to maintain the interior circle of the
We have them
roundabout?
with us here. I can pull them up on the screen. I can email them. I can do pretty much whatever you want.
So, Bill, I think I didn't hear your question. You said something about who's maintaining the roundabout plantings. I would imagine that's Mass Highway.
This is the classic dilemma with roundabouts. Who's going to maintain the interior surface, or are you going to simply pave it?
It's Mass Highways District 2's problem. That's their maintenance. That's not Granby DPW. That's gonna be Mass
No,
Highway.
but I mean, I'm asking Bob as a DOT rep. Bob, what do you plan on doing on the interior of the circle?
Low landscaping.
We have several shrubs that we're going to be adding there. We can pull up the plan here and describe it to you, and we can also email it to you.
Okay, yeah, if you could do that. I don't think we need that tonight. It's already 8 o'clock. But if you could do that and we can review it for next meeting when we continue, it'd be wonderful.
Sure. So we're asking for the restoration plans to review the Mass DEP comments or address them. Mass DEP comments.
Response to DEP comments as Amanda asked.
Plantings for the restoration of the wetlands or the replication, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And
Right.
plantings of the island.
That's it.
Yep, we have
Sounds
all that.
good. Okay, so listen, I move we continue till the 13th of September at 7:30.
Second.
Any more comments? Bob, thank you so much for coming in and sharing this with us. All in favor of continuing until September?
Aye.
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 Okay, Robert, thank you. We'll look forward to seeing that information. Thanks so much.
I just had a question. If there's any comments from the public.
Sure. Bob has one question real quick. If you could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any questions from the public, either online or in person.
Good point, Bob. Thank you for bringing that. Is there any comment from the public online? No one in the audience here? Okay. No, Bob, thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, Bob, thank you. See you on next meeting. Thank you.
But thank you, Ed.
We're gonna have to wait till these hearings clear out. Amanda,
Okay, Amanda.
you want to go?
Yeah, Amanda, who's next on the hill for Ed?
Yes, so next item on our agenda is NOI 165-0357 filed by Carwitz Custom Homes for proposed construction of a driveway for a single-family home with regards to property located on Chicopee Street, Lot 1.
Amanda, I'm gonna recuse myself. Alan, and I go back many years. I do his surveying work for him, so I'm gonna recuse myself. Thank you.
Okay.
Drawing in here.
Steve, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, Amanda, Steve Ribberty's here. Steve is Alan's wetlands consultant, so Amanda's the host tonight. So Steve, go ahead and do your thing, please.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, so good evening. I'm Steve Ribberty, Senior Wetland Scientist. Here for Alan Katowitz on Lot 1, Chicopee Street. It's a single-family home in buffer zone. So wait till you pull up the plan. I can kind of go through the picture of it. We got the DEP comments 2-3 days ago. They didn't have any comments on the project.
Okay.
Yeah, while you're pulling it up, I'll just talk it through. So it's a single family home. It's partially in the buffer zone through a wetland that's located off-site to the north. There's no actual wetlands on the property. The property is very high and flat. It's all sandy. The area was probably a former sand and gravel pit. That's where the wetland comes from. That's on the north side of the project. There's a steep drop off between the flat site that we're on and the wetlands to the north.
Jesus Christ. That's not the one you're looking for, right?
Yeah, that's an older plan.
Yeah. Let me go back.
Is that
If you
the
have-
plan, Steve, or no?
Well, we're trying to get ourselves set up better to be a better.
Didn't we do a site visit here?
Yes,
Fairly
yeah, we
recently?
Last year.
Okay.
This is.
Yeah, this is
I don't
part
know.
of, I don't want to call it a subdivision, but there was a bunch of lots here that got broken out and our lots. And this is the
Yeah.
last one that hasn't been developed yet.
Okay. So there's a revision to that plan that we had just looked at?
Yeah, we have a formal NOI plan. That's what we talked about at the RDA
Okay.
last time.
Well, there it is. Okay, very good. Scroll through that if you would, Dave.
The last page of the NOI
Yeah,
application should be the figure.
it's always the last page. Oh, it's not the last page.
That's the fee form.
It's the other one, the colored, cover one.
It's the other PDF file.
Great. This one,
Yep, that's it.
32
Yep, the
pages.
last page.
Very good, very good.
Nice detail of a water garden. Very thorough, NOI. Hope the thing's gonna be, oh, good.
There we go. Yeah, so that blue area up there, that's the wetland located off-site to the north. It's about, I don't know, 10, 11 feet lower in elevation than the site. The site itself is pretty flat. Due to the configuration of the lot, the driveway kind of has to go through the buffer zone. There's really no way around it to get into the site. So we have the driveway coming in center of the right of way and then swinging out of the buffer zone as soon as we can to get to the house. We're proposing similar like rain garden swales along the edges of the driveway that we did at Maximilian. This time we're going to put them kind of on both sides. So there's one that'll catch kind of the driveway runoff. The driveway will be pitched away from the wetland and then kind of through a vegetated swale into a rain garden. And then on the north side of the house, we have a similar setup along the new tree line, which would catch any just roof runoff or yard runoff and then put that in a swale and also infiltrate that in a rain garden right there. The clearing would be 50 feet from the wetland, other than a small area where the driveway kind of, you don't really have any way to get out of it. out of the 50-foot buffer, where that red hatching is. That would be a little bit of clearing inside the 50-foot, just for the kind of corner where the driveway is. But we looked at that area in the field. There's really no trees in that area. It's just kind of maybe a couple small pines, but there's no substantial trees right there. Erosion control, we obviously put along the backside to catch anything. I figured we could talk about tonight what that erosion control could be. We were thinking of using the same wood chip berms, or wood grinding berms, I should say. They're not actually chips. They perform better than chips.
Steve,
put that as erosion
question.
control.
Yeah,
And,
question. Yeah, question, please, Steve. So your wetland flag 13 has an elevation of 261.8, so call it 262. So are your wetland flags more or less at the same elevation?
pretty much, yeah, they're total slope.
Okay, so you're going from, like you say, 272 to 262, so you got 10-foot elevation drop in 50 feet. So 10 foot and 50 feet. So that's like a...
It's really about 10 foot and 3 feet. I mean, that's pretty much, it's pretty much perfectly flat, and then it drops straight down to the wetland.
Oh, it does. Okay. So where's the break in the slope occur?
If you pan the sheet closer to the wetland.
Dave, could you unzoom a little bit, please?
Yeah, so where that wetland line is very straight between wetland 7 and 11 on the what we could see on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
The drop off is probably 5 feet back from that. The drop off's not on Mr. Katowitz's lot.
Okay. So the point is then, when you cross the property line, then there's an escarpment. It's a real steep slope at that point. I got you. Okay. So the rain garden, are you going to utilize that for the gutters from the house for discharge?
I don't think we were proposing that directly. It would, whatever came off the house would get into that swale and get into the rain garden. We were
I got you. Okay. I got you. Yeah, that's good. Looks like a good design to me. Any other comments from anybody else?
I had one question, and looking at this plan, I was realizing that the driveway, and I know this isn't an architectural plan, but the driveway right now is drawn like it's 20 feet wide. Is that actually the width of the paved driveway or the driveway itself?
That's what's shown. I don't know ultimately what would get built. I think Alan's still there in the hall. I don't know if he still is. He said he was.
Well, one of the questions it had, Steve, when we were at the site, and Janice and I were at the site, we were talking about this iron pin at the corner where there's a favored oak tree that you'd like to save.
Yeah.
And you're talking about moving the drive as far to the north, and that's where it encroaches into the 50-foot wetland. And I'm realizing it's a 20-foot wide driveway. And many driveways are like 9 or 10 feet wide when you leave, when you're actually on the driveway.
Yeah, so the tree, yeah, we definitely want to save that tree. So if that means making the driveway narrower there, I'm sure that's what Mr. Katowitz is going to do. So just so everybody knows, right at the property pin, I don't know if anybody could point to it. It's right at that corner where the driveway comes in, the lot opens up. Yeah, about 5 feet into the lot from there. There's a very nice oak tree, probably a 20-inch DBH, sprawling canopy kind of oak tree, different than the rest of the canopy there, which is mostly straight, white pines. So we want to save that tree. It's just a nice specimen yard tree that would be nice, asset to the lot. So that'll get saved. So we're going to try to swing the driveway or narrow the driveway in that area to avoid impacting that tree.
Okay.
David, excellent observation.
Oh, all right. Well, it had to do with the tree. So.
No, but again, you're right. If you scale that driveway, it's about 20. I'll tell you, it scales probably 25 feet wide. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, and you don't. A residential driveway is not that wide. Certainly at the house, it probably will be, but not when you're going to the street. So
right.
It's probably going to be smaller when it's constructed.
Yeah, 10, 12, 14 is usually the max that I normally see. Yeah.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Alan has some comments here.
Yeah, I'm here as well. And basically at the house itself, we'd be to the width of the garage. But as we get away from it, and maybe even make a turnaround spot, if need be, toward the rain garden. But then as we traverse away from the house, we'll definitely narrow it down to a 14-foot driveway, would be the maximum that we would do as we're going back out toward Tweed Street. Just by the house, we would be our width of our garage. Our intentions.
So does that mean you don't have to shift over the road into the buffer zone as much?
I think you'll still have to do that, Janice,
Okay,
because
Yeah,
you
I
want to
think that's
stay,
what happens
you
to
need
get
to
around
stay
the
as
tree.
far away from that tree as possible.
okay.
Yeah, if you pave over the roots, you're gonna kill the tree ultimately, yes.
Yeah. You need to stay away from the tree as much as possible.
Oh, this looks like a nice looking plan. Very nice.
I have a question for the other commissioners. Do we have a new 50-foot rule that I don't know about?
50-foot rule.
Yeah,
You're reading our premonition of a bylaw. We have not proposed a bylaw as of yet, but,
okay. I was just wondering
That's a
why it
good-
was included on the thing, because we don't actually have anything limiting the driveway going into that 50-foot.
Well, the tree is what's limiting it, Amanda. That's what.
No, but no, I understand that. I just mean it doesn't matter
the
because we don't have a 50-foot
50-foot
rule.
buffer is not really a jurisdictional item. It's a nicety,
Yeah.
but not a jurisdictional item from the town's
Yeah, exactly.
perspective. That's right.
Oh.
That's right.
Yeah, we have no legal enforcement on that, really.
Actually, Steve, question for you. How many of what percentage of the cities and towns you work in have a 50-foot jurisdictional buffer?
It's a buffer. I mean, if you go out east, it gets very high. I'd say half the towns out there easily have buffers, and some of them make buffers resource areas.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what they should
Now, how
do.
about-
The 100-foot
how about-
buffer should
how
be a
about-
resource area.
How about 25-foot no work zones? How common is that in Western Mass?
Fairly common. I mean, some of the towns that have bylaws have that written into them. I don't know the exact percentage. I'd say usually 15-20% of them that have, bylaws have some level of a no disturb zone, but then they have a variance to get out of it for, you have to explain why, but there's a way that you can approve it. But it's but by and large, try to get out of there if at all possible.
Yeah, that's something we might want to consider for future reference. And again, given the fact that there's a variance protocol, it shouldn't be, it's not going to be a steadfast deal killer for anybody, but I think it's good. It's a good protocol for us to at least consider. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
No problem.
Okay, anyone else?
I think one
Ed,
of the
any
other.
comment? Janice?
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, one of the things to discuss before we end it all is what Steve mentioned about getting approval to use those sort of wood shredding mulch or whatever instead of the usual erosion control, just to have that be part of the decision or discussion.
Okay. Now, getting back to the driveway, when we write up the specials on this, do you want to limit the width of the driveway so many feet from the house? I realize you want to have it the width of the garage, but then you'll neck it down, and maybe Alan wants to put in a hammerhead turnaround for the owner. But do you want to limit the absolute width of the driveway for the majority of the driveway going to the street, or do you want to permit him to go with a 20 or 25 footer if he wishes?
I don't think it matters. I think putting extra work on us to add extra language
Okay,
could complicate it unnecessarily.
okay. So we'll leave it as is then. That's fine.
I mean, we could put in the condition about saving the tree. It seems like they want to do that anyways, but
Yeah. Okay. Steve, did you file this with EDEP?
Yes.
Okay, so you could share your nickname like you did last time, and we can work on the order of conditions for you. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give that a go again.
Okay, that was a very efficient way to do it. Okay. Anyway, do you guys want to impose any specials or no specials on this?
I don't have any see a need to add anything.
I mean, I
Amanda?
guess the specials would be to allow them to use that ground up, what was it, wood chips?
Yeah, I think it's called
Wood
wood
shredding mulch.
grinding.
Okay,
Yep.
wood grindings, wood mulch. So I guess we would put that in our special conditions that we're allowing that as our erosion control option.
Okay, so it'd be that and the keeping of the oak tree. And
Yeah.
Kevin, Ed, anything else? Amanda, anything else?
No.
Okay. Janice, any
Nothing else I can
comments?
think of.
Not that I can think of.
Okay, so, all right, so I move we approve this project, subject to the specials we had just discussed. And do I hear a second?
Dave Desilets, second.
Okay, any other last second or last minute discussion points on this?
Actually, I did have one. Could we add some sort of a limit of work indicator for the crews along that mulch erosion control line? Just because usually silt fence is pretty obvious that that's your limit of work for crew people. I don't know if like
Okay.
stakes make sense or.
Okay, so we can add language that the erosion control line is depicted on the plan also serves as the limit of work.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Okay, so amended as Amanda stated.
I would just say, Dave and I had a discussion with Steve and Alan out at, I think, Maximilian. And the only concern is that it wouldn't be that difficult for large vehicles to accidentally back over those and not realize that those are the limits of work. And so maybe to have some stakes put in with flagging or something occasionally, something to have people notice that that's the limit of work more than
Yeah, we
just
could put like orange stakes every like 50 feet on the top of it and have them painted.
something
Yeah.
like that.
That sounds good. Or snow fence. Oftentimes people do that. It's bright orange.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so the
we
special
could
is
just-
amended to incorporate that information as well.
I got it.
Okay, so we had a motion, we had a second, we had two amendments.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the project as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Nothing heard, unanimously approved with the amendments. Steve, thank you. Alan, thank you.
Well,
Thank you
guys.
very much, commissioners. Thank you.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Good to see you. Okay, that one's done. Amanda?
Yes. Next item.
480th Street.
Yes. So this doesn't have a file number. Is that correct?
Um,
On the
does,
It does have
Um,
one. Stemborski does have one.
it's
Okay.
number 1650355.
okay, CP number 165-0355, filed by Devin Stemborski for the proposed new house and driveway within buffer zone and driveway wetland crossing with regards to property located at Lot 1 adjacent to 48 East Street and known as Map 5B4 in the town of Granby.
Everybody see that okay?
I see it. Dave, who's the surveyor engineer of record, please?
It's right here. There are people I really don't know. The civil engineer is Jeff Lebeau from Springfield. And the surveyor, surveyor is Paul Smith Land Surveying from East Long Meadow.
Oh, okay, he's been around. Ed, you know Paul Smith, don't you, Ed?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You have a full-size plan? I can't read the reduced copy. I know we have a PDF on screen, but we don't have a full-size drawing in the folder.
There
My
is
eyesight
one.
is not good.
This is one of the LaFlamme properties that they're selling on East Street. It's the estate lot right next to 48 East Street, which is a site that Janice and I looked at a while back. They were putting in a swimming pool, I think, Janice.
Yeah.
And if you remember, there was this, and that was in the springtime, and there was a spring. It looked like it was draining an upland wetland. And that's what this culvert is at the driveway, just at the top of the plan that you can see. So I think you did a very good analysis for them as far as, I don't know, well, Devin is in the room, so maybe we should let him talk.
Yeah. Let the applicants present their case. Is this an NOI or an RDA?
NOI.
NOI.
NOI. Okay. So Devin and Jeff, go ahead, please.
So good evening. This is Dan and Devin Stamborski. We have a lot of familiarity with building in Chicopee, but certainly don't profess to be an expert in any of the wetlands stuff. So we hired Kevin Brooks to come out and flag the wetlands. And then Jeff Lebeau came out and drew up these plans for you. And essentially, we're going from the street out to the property, which is kind of on a plateau out there. And we've been out there multiple times. It's typically usually dry. We were just out there mowing it the other day. The only time we ever see any water where the proposed culvert's going to be is when there's been a heavy rain. And I think Jeff could probably take over from here as far as explaining that portion of it.
Sure. Great. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Good evening. I know some of you don't know me. My name is Jeff Lebeau. I work as a professional civil engineer. My full-time job is down in Hartford, so I haven't done a lot of work out in this particular town, but for about half of my career, I did work in East Longmeadow and worked with Paul Smith and a bunch of other folks. So Devin hired me to design his septic system for this lot. Alan Weiss was the sanitarian who did the perk tests last May. It's mostly sandy soils, so it's very well draining material. It's actually almost too fast for a septic because we need 5 feet of separation from groundwater because it's less than 2 minutes an inch. So my job was to perform grading, septic design, and align the driveway and minimize the amount of wetland impact that we would have. I did design and size the culverts, 15-inch pipes, most likely plastic, makes the most sense. I basically told Devin we could get away with one, but I'd rather have a double just for extra. Essentially, it appears to me that this was an old farm field and that the shape of the wetlands that go through the site, it appears to me that it was man-made at one point to probably drain the farm field. Either way, Kevin delineated this, I believe, as bordering vegetated wetlands. Devin and myself did not receive the data sheets from them, but they have been flagged. And if anybody made a site visit, I believe some of the flags are still out there. Devin and I made a site visit a couple weeks ago, and there was some running water, but there were recent rains. So I feel confident with the fill over the driveway and the modified riprap with the flared ends that we will have a stabilized wetland crossing. We weren't 100% sure what was required as far as a replication area. I informed Devin that we most likely will need to replicate the wetland somewhere on site. But again, I'm not a wetland scientist. It's not my expertise. I have designed a lot of plans and crossings. But we wanted to consult with you to help us determine what makes the most sense for this site based on the quality and the value of the wetlands. But at this point, I'd like to turn it back over to you guys for questions, and we can get into the specifics of the grading and the impacts to the 100-foot buffer zone as well as the crossing.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Janice, have you walked this site?
No, I haven't done a site visit yet.
Okay, so I don't think anyone's done the site visit at this
No.
point. All right, there's a lot going on here. Amanda, why don't you lead off? I got to get my thoughts together on this one.
I would definitely want someone who knows wetlands to take a look at this site. I mean, I would try and take a look. It's just my time is so crazy right now. I don't know if I'll actually be able to get out there, but it's historic farm field. So yes, they ditched to drain the wetlands, but that means that when you stop maintaining those ditches, the wetlands are going to convert back to wetlands. So that means if you put a house in a dry area right now, it might not be dry in 10 years. So that's kind of a concern. It's actually knowing where the actual wetlands are.
Well, they have been
Because it's a stream
delineated
network.
and survey located.
No, I understand that, but it's having a second review by someone from the commission is really important for these.
This is similar to the Center Street issue with the old farm. I'm guessing we have the old farm that was abandoned and then it was tried to be developed and there was a bunch of wetlands that were wet meadows. Is that what you're talking about, Amanda? Something similar to that effect?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So are you looking at a peer review at this point or are you looking to tackle this as a commission? Because I don't have any expertise in wetland delineations for sure, especially wet meadows. I don't think any commission.
And I mean, I've been getting a lot of experience with it. It's just, I don't know if I have the time.
Well, we brought Janice, Emily Stockman in on the Center Street property. Does it make sense to bring Emily in on this one?
Do you want me to show you where it is on the, no, it's not the right. If I could show you where we're talking, that would be helpful.
Yeah, you go to Mass Mapper. I'm sure it's going to comport somewhat with what Kevin had shown.
The other thing, Bill.
Because it's, sorry.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. We really need a couple of full-size scale drawings. I'm working off my phone. I've got a reduced copy here. If the applicant in the near future can submit at least a couple full-size drawings that we can read.
Yeah, that's going to actually.
We're all working
be in our,
I agree.
That's going to be in our new submission protocol, Ed. We need two full-size plans, even with a digital submission.
Yeah.
I think that's a requirement for Mass DEP anyways, as when you file an NOI and RDA, you have to have a full-size drawing.
At a certain scale.
At a certain scale, right. These are reduced copies that we have, and I appreciate the PDF copies. Those are great, but I'm working on my phone. Kevin's here on the computer, which we have limited access at times. So we're going back. I know we're going back to the dark ages, asking for paper copies, but
Yeah.
I think that's part of the requirement anyways for Mass DEP. That's
going to be, that's going to be an amended change that we're going to do later on tonight.
Well, I don't think it's amended change, it's a requirement.
And if you look at Mass Mapper, you see a little blurb, see the contour blurb? And Jeff, does that comport with where your stream crossing is, that little blurb on the Mass Mapper?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's kind of like a little dip that shows a swale.
I got you. Okay.
Correct.
Again, this is a challenging site. It's a wet meadow. Again.
But none of the data layers are shown on this map right now.
Say that again, Amanda?
You don't have any of the GIS data layers turned on.
Well, how do I do that?
You have to like go through the side and like turn it. Can you just like pass it to me? Can I share my screen?
That would be good.
You could share your screen. Do you have it?
I think you have to make me the presenter. It's whoever has the power has to share it.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if Kathy lets us bounce the share.
She
privilege
does,
back
because
and
I
forth.
lost it before. I gave it to a
Oh,
consultant one
really?
time and then they
Oh, really?
left
Okay.
and we lost it.
Okay. Well, Dave, if you could hand that off to Amanda, that would be terrific.
I'd love to.
So Amanda, or Bill, I have two residents who are direct or butters that are here to listen to the presentation.
Okay.
So, after the commission's done, if they have any questions, we can ask them, but, we'll let the commission finish or continue the
Okay.
presentation.
All right. This photograph that's on right now is a very, very insightful photograph. There's the ditch. There's the drainage ditch right there.
Yes.
You know, the concern I would have would be backwater to number 48. You don't want to create a backwater situation. So it's really important that you designed any embankment, Jeff, any embankment for roadway, even outside of the twin culverts, any embankment should be able to pass water without impeding the flow of water.
Correct.
Here's a question. What's the cross-sectional height of your driveway embankment going from the street to the twin culvert crossing? What's the nominal height of the embankment going to be?
I'd say about 1.5 feet, but at the crossing, it's going to be close to 3 feet because I wanted enough cover over the pipes. Yeah, if
Yeah,
you pan
okay.
over. So if you
Yeah.
look, it is a 5 scale, so 15-inch, and then it's about 1.5 feet cover over that.
You know, the
Say
concern I
2.5
have,
feet.
you know, the concern I would have for the abutter is if you've got 1.5 feet of embankment between the street and the double culvert, and there's backwater, there's a huge rainstorm and there's backwater against that embankment, conceivably you could raise the local water table a little bit and cause some upgradient flooding. So you got to be really careful for that. So you might want to even consider putting in some equalization pipes every few feet. You see
Okay,
what I'm driving at? You see the point?
I do.
Yeah.
Actually, can you just go back to the grading plan? I just want to see the extents of where there would be an embankment. Because I think I match grade very quickly north of the crossing.
Right next to it. Can you see the property line?
Again, it'd probably be nice to see a cross section every 50 feet along this driveway, given the criticality of this, but let's just see what you have to start with anyway.
I can take another look at that.
Yeah, please, if you would, because we don't want to cause any upgradient flooding.
If the commission would remember the, project on East Street where the culverts were put in backed up the water into, that guy's orchard.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember going into Ludlow, so this potentially could be the same thing, but
exactly.
'cause
Especially as
that
we
was-
keep taking these farm fields out of agricultural use and converting them to different uses.
I've seen this happen more than once, believe me.
It's everywhere.
Now, Amanda, do you have control of the system now?
No. But I mean, you could see it before.
Okay, again, until we can get this ironed out. Any other questions from any other commissioners going forward, or Janice?
I had a bunch of questions, but just as soon have the commissioners ask things first.
Okay. Amanda, any other questions?
I do not. No.
Okay, Dave?
None for me, Bill.
Okay, but Ed?
I don't have any particular now. We have, a butter who's listening in. I'm not sure if they want to ask questions, but we'll let the commission end first and then Janice with some comments and then we'll open it up to the audience.
Yeah, let's do it. Kevin, are you there?
Yes. You have any
Yeah,
questions?
Kev, any questions on your end?
No questions.
Okay. So yeah, Janice, why don't you opine and then we'll turn it over to the floor.
Okay, so, I would like to plan a site visit here, and so we need to make sure that the flags are there as well before the commission goes out. And I also had a lot of problems trying to, even at blowing up the map, it's really difficult to read this to me. And I'd like to have it at a larger scale so that things are clearer.
Yeah, we can print a couple hard copies and then just get those delivered to you. That's not a problem.
You know, Ed, one thing in the Carnegie Hall, there's that 54-inch or 72-inch monitor on the wall. That's Bluetooth accessible. You can actually Bluetooth over to that and put the image on that big monitor if you'd like. Again, we're probably not going to be able to execute that tonight, but for future reference at future meetings, you can utilize that 72-inch monitor because the commission actually owns half of that monitor.
So another thing was when I was trying to just scale off the map a bit, it looked like there was grading for the house that was going to be within the 100-foot buffer zone and maybe some within the 50-foot. And so I was asking for 50 and 100-foot buffer zones to show on there as well. Those green are the new grading, and it looked to me like some of that was within the 100-foot buffer, which is not shown on the map.
It's right there. You can see it right now on the screen. 100-foot BVW buffer.
Oh, okay. So you do have grading within the 100-foot
Yes.
buffer.
Yes.
Okay. So
Correct.
I think that should be, I don't think that was mentioned in the description. There should be a narrative explaining that, and that will require erosion and sediment control barriers and some other things along that area as well, anywhere where you're going to be doing disturbance.
Yeah, we show silt fence along the edge as well. To the left, if you go further to the left, see where it says 100-foot radius, the red arc, that other dashed line, that's proposed erosion control fencing. Whether it's like a silt sock or if it's like, you know, sediment, whatever the town prefers, silt fence.
Why doesn't that go to the north further too?
What do you mean? Goes the whole length of the project. Goes the whole length of the project on the south side, down gradient. See, proposed erosion control barrier, silt fence, or sediment sock.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it was the red line. I couldn't figure out why that red line stopped.
No.
Okay.
No, that was the arc.
I
That's
think
the red from
the red line is the 100-foot well arc to well protection.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And especially like super blown up, you can see things, but you've got dash lines for contours. You've got dash lines for erosion control barrier.
Yeah.
It's
a little confusing.
Yeah, and sometimes the colors are not helpful because they're just not very sharp. But at any rate, so I just definitely feel like we need a larger version. And as we were talking about, you need to do a 1-to-1 replacement of the wetlands that will be lost. So you need to show where you're going to do that and how you're going to do it and the plantings. So that's something that needs to appear. And ideally, it'd be nice to have that area identified before we do a site visit so we can look at that at the same time if you can figure that out. And then a description of how you're going to go about doing. There's some pretty standard methodology about wetland replication, but it needs to be included with your notice of intent.
Okay, we'll include that.
Okay, and then there was a question from the DEP that I thought the commission could probably discuss with you about whether technically your address, I know you've got a separate lot now, but it falls under the Laflamme solar project. And so the DEP had a question about whether there should be a request for certificate of compliance, probably more for your property owners, benefit to have that separated from the larger solar project. It may not come up for a while. Obviously, it didn't come up when he purchased the property, but at some point in the future, a bank or some other lawyer could require it. So it's just something to at least consider. And I don't know what you guys, folks on the commission, think one way or the other about that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Usually that should clear it out before moving on to another DEP order of conditions.
I mean, there's a number of lots here that are being subdivided from the larger lot where the solar farm is on.
Yep.
Once you subdivide a property, how is it corrupted by what's on the master or the mothership, if you will? Because these are now dedicated and separate parcels that they've sold or they're trying to sell.
It's in the.
It becomes very confusing.
Yeah, it's in the title.
It's in the chain of title. It shows up in the chain of title. So-
That's right.
So-
But it
Yeah, but
shows
it
that
often
title-
gets buried.
That title
So,
shows
So
just
Ed,
being-
a sharp closing attorney could bring this up as a talking point,
Yes.
correct?
Well,
Yes.
sure. We've had this a few times, if you remember. It always comes up, especially in Philip and Jennifer Circle.
Yeah.
It's always
You
coming
know,
up.
you know, the logistics of this, though, this is part of the Nexamp solar project that was, I believe, permitted by, I believe, Ty and Bond did the permitting. And boy, it's going to be a fair amount of work getting a COC issued through a third party on this. It's going to be a hell of a lot of work. But you're right, by rights, that should be done. I agree.
Well, if this section of the property was not included in that work area under that permit for the solar panels, they can do a partial COC and,
Right.
or they can do a full COC, but they can reference the new number, like the new parcel ID number for the subdivided piece.
But here's the question:
Completely outside.
Who files the Form 8A? Who files for the COC? Does Mr.
Anyone.
Stamborski sign off on it, or does Laflamme or his agents sign off on it?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's whoever wants it.
right.
Usually it would be the homeowner or it would be the seller before they sell it,
Yeah,
because usually the lawyers get involved and they catch these things.
Right.
So you'd have to go to Laflamme. So Laflamme would have to agree to do this.
I don't know. Laflamme would have to be notified that this was being requested, but I don't think, they're only asking for the property that they now own. So
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think they have any,
Well,
Say
let me
over
ask a question to Devin and Jeff. Devin, do you own this project in fee, or is it a pending transaction at this time?
I own the property.
So so he owns the property, Ed, so he'd have to go back to Laflamme and ask him to initiate the COC.
Sure.
No.
I don't see the problem. We can still work through this with, concurrently, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, again,
We'll get
like you
done.
said, you don't want to cause any banking problem for a remortgage or something down the line. That's the problem. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. All
It's
right.
just-
okay, so then wetland replication design, and then there was a question about whether there was an intermittent stream and therefore bank alteration. And the email that I'd sent to Devin was just that that's probably something the commission can determine when they do a site visit, or how do you guys want to handle that?
Well, let me turn it to Amanda. Amanda, you've dealt with a lot of these farm fields in Framingham. So the question is, in your opinion, is this waterway simply a BVW style waterway, or is it an intermittent stream which might require stream crossing standards?
Well, that's not really, it depends on if there's bank. That's what determines it all. So I was trying to look at some of the photos, but that's typically how they would define stream crossing standards, would be in relationship to bank and making sure that they're spanning the bank and the 1.5 openness ratio.
Okay.
If there's no bank, then it's just a wetland crossing.
I got you. Okay, good.
Once you guys make a field visit, it'll become very evident what it is.
Okay. Janice,
I
any
was
other
looking at the
questions?
photos.
No, I think the key thing is the wetland replication or replacement. As well as making sure that, there's no backup, from the fill for the driveway crossing.
That's right. Okay, any other questions on anybody's end on the commission? None heard. Ed, I think you have a guest in the Carnegie Hall.
Sure, they were satisfied with the commissioners' discussion points. They had nothing to say about the project, whether they're for or against it. They thanked us and they left. They're direct they're the butter to the east.
Okay,
So
all right. Okay,
they had they voiced no concerns to me or Kevin.
okay.
So they were satisfied.
So why don't we just reiterate the concerns and the workup plan for Jeff going forward. First of all, we're going to do a site visit. Janice, when do you want to do this? In the next week or a couple of weeks out?
The sooner the better, as long as the flagging is there, and if you want them to try to come up with a place for the wetland replication or not before the site visit.
Okay. Jeff, would you be able to work on that, please?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. And again, I'm concerned about the embankment and the ability of it to act as a dam. So
Yeah.
if you could do some, maybe every 50 feet, do a cross section and think about putting equalization pipes in maybe every 100 feet or something like that.
Well, not to cut it short, but if we look back at the grading plan, see, I didn't know when you first asked me the question, but if you look north of the crossing, there's very little, if no embankment. If you kind of zoom in and then kind of pan and scan up and down, I tried to match the existing slope on the uphill side. And it's basically, we're just using a 2% cross slope as we come across. So the real impoundment area, if you will, is really isolated to probably 20 feet either side of the culvert, the pipes.
Okay.
So if I have to add a third one in, then that's easy to do.
Okay.
But I will look closer at it. I just don't think we need cross sections every 50 feet now that I'm looking at it again.
Oh, yeah. Again, if you were building a big embankment, you would need periodic sections, but if you're not building an embankment, it's a moot point. Okay, good.
I totally agree, but it's a great question.
Good, thank you.
You're
Okay,
welcome.
folks, so what else do we need Devin to work and Jeff to work on?
Did you want to have a peer review, or you want to wait until we go out and take a look and see how we feel about it?
Yeah, why don't we, let's do a walk around on our own. If we feel comfortable on the call ourselves, fine. If not, maybe we can bring someone like Emily in.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Ideally, I would want to be able to get out there and get an auger in the ground, just take a look at the soils. And it depends on this timing for the applicants on if they're in a hurry and would rather us just tee up a peer review so that we guarantee it, or if they want to wait and see if we can cover it with commission only.
Okay, Jeff, did Kevin prepare any data sheets at all or none?
I think when Devin asked him for them, I don't know, Devin, what was the answer you got?
In short, he said, no, there's no paperwork involved.
All right.
I've been trying to get a hold of him and he hasn't called me back.
I think, Devin, that call's going to be up to you. I mean, I know what hydric soils look like and modeling, obviously, but, we could go out with the commission and put some shovels in and augers and look, or, I mean, I don't want to delay the project with a peer review, but I kind of defer to you and the commission as the best course of action on that end of it, that determination.
Did Kevin say he delineated via hydric soils or simply vegetation?
I believe vegetation, but the phone call was about early May. I can't recall exactly.
Yeah. Again, I've been around for a while. My expertise is not in wetland science. However, I have learned over 40 years in the business that wet meadows, you got to look at hydric soils with wet meadows anyway, for what that's worth.
Yeah.
But again, let's go out and take a walk around. Maybe it's a lot simpler than we think. Okay, very good, guys. Thank you for being candid.
Would you like to coordinate that with us, or are you guys going to do that on your own?
Janice, you're gonna coordinate the site visit with Jeff and Devin, correct?
Yes, but I'd like to know what works for people in terms of, do you want a Saturday morning? So is that better for people or
Yeah, I
not?
think
or what?
this would warrant a Saturday morning, in my opinion. Maybe others would have other times.
Okay, so I'll be in touch with the commissioners about time and also with Jeff and Devin about their time so they
Okay.
can be with us.
That sounds great.
All right,
Are we,
thank you.
hold on, Bill, are we continuing this to the next meeting at least? Put it posted for the next
That's what I was
meeting?
gonna say. Let's continue till 13 September.
Do we have permission from the applicant?
Devin, are we good to continue this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so September 13th at 7:30, meeting continued. Thank you, folks. Nice to meet you tonight.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Okay. Okay, Amanda, what's next on the hit parade?
All right, let me see. Up next, we have the NOI 165-0352, which was continued, previously filed by Christopher Aldrich for proposed demolition of barn located on the bank of Bachelor Brook. Prior to demolition, sediment and erosion controls will be installed. All debris will be removed from the site, with the exception of the stone foundation, which will be brought down to grade and left on site. And this is with regards to property located at 49 Aldrich Street and known as map 1C8 in the town of Granby. And do we have someone here for this project?
Is John Jeffress here? Is Kid Aldridge here? Oh, okay, the last I've heard, folks, on this is they're in the process of retaining a soils engineer to write an opinion paper or opinion analysis on some slope stability issues. And that's where it stands. So I move that we push this till 13 September as well.
I second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Okay, is everyone in favor?
Yeah, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, cool.
Okay,
Next
so we'll see
one.
these guys in September.
Yes. It's another continuation. This is for an ANRAD 165-0351 filed by Triad Alpha Partners LLC to see whether work and boundaries of resource areas depicted on the plans and or maps referenced are accurately delineated with regards to property located at New Lebeau Road and known as map 5D1 and D11 in the town of Granby. And do we have anyone here through this project?
No, I was in touch with Jonathan Miller, who's been their spokesperson for us in the last couple of meetings, and he had another meeting tonight to go to, but they're still trying to get some of the information materials from the former applicant, the former consultant, Swicka.
Consultant?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Didn't they, Janice, didn't they ask us to move this project to October?
No, that was Heather
No.
Rule's project.
Yeah.
That was Heather Rule's project?
Yep.
Yeah, that was Kendall Street, Heather Rule. Yep.
Yep. So
in that case,
they,
I'll make
we're
a motion to
hoping.
continue.
Yeah. Good.
Second.
Continue to the September meeting.
Yes.
Can we get a second? Any further discussion?
Who made the motion?
Amanda did.
Okay.
Oh, I said I was entertaining a motion.
Oh, I'll make the motion to
As the
continue.
chairperson.
Just settle. So Ed, you're gonna make the motion
I'll make
and
the
then
motion to continue, September 13th, 2022, 7:30.
Amanda seconded it?
Yes, I'll second. Any further
Gotcha.
discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, anyone opposed or? All right, moving on to the next one.
Amanda,
Up next,
can
we're.
we,
Oh,
Ed, can I we have Mr. Sorry, Blanchard, I'm late.
Right.
I believe he emailed that over to Janice, the plan. I've seen it. And it looks pretty straightforward as from what I can see. So if the commission want to take this as a building permit so we can get him out of the way, you won't have to be here next meeting.
Oh, is this which one?
Amherst Road. Amherst
Oh, yes,
Road.
591.
Yeah, 591 Amherst
Yeah.
Road.
I saw the plan. It looks pretty straightforward to me. I don't see any wetland issues out there. If the other commissioners want to take a look at it, between that and, Mass Mapper.
For those that don't know, Mr. Nance, who originally owned it, actually leased the property.
Amanda, could you take a look at this, please, on the GIS stuff?
Yeah, I'm giving it a look on the historic aerials.
Okay, thank you.
The plans I just quickly looked at don't really give location, so I don't know where it is on the property. So it's hard to know where to look for wetlands.
Well, you can kind of see the driveway in, and then it looks like there's some cars parked sort of in the middle section. There's like a white car. Nope, further left. You're getting close. To the right, a little bit down.
Golly.
Oh,
It's so frustrating. Okay.
Okay, so I see the white car.
so it looks like it's probably like right in the middle of that lot is where they're thinking of the house.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Is there a plan that we can look at? No.
Does it? Who has it? I don't have it.
I just got it. Like I said, it doesn't really give location. I can send it on to somebody.
Send it
What do you
to
want?
send it to me, Amanda, Janice.
Okay. Just like a hot potato.
You know.
This.
Lord.
Okay, I just sent it.
You did.
I did. Let me go back to it again.
Hit it one more time. Maybe it's slow. Oh, my phone. Oh, it's not from Bill Shaheen, right?
No, it's from Granby Concom. Okay, let me find my way back to my thing. Okay, I'll just do it again.
Oh, here we go. I got it.
Oh,
I
good.
got it.
Great.
Oh, thanks, Dave. Thank you.
Loading now. It's 5
Okay.
pages. That's the house.
Okay.
Nice plan.
There's no location.
Yeah, we don't need the window schedule. We want to know where it is on the property.
That's not. This is not helpful for what we're looking
No.
for. These
Hey,
are
Bill,
only plans. of the
Janice.
house. We need a site plan.
It should be another one that's from, the applicant, named Plot.
591 Amherst Road, plot.
591 Amherst Road Plot. It's gonna be a separate email.
Okay, I'll forward those.
That one should have the location of the building.
Oh, okay, good.
It looks like he sent the septic one too.
Yes, sent the septic.
I think that's more than enough right there.
Sorry, I didn't know I needed.
That's okay. Sorry, you're late.
There you go. That's it.
Okay,
Right
that's
there.
a little better.
Use the one that says Plot. That should be the one that has the building on it. The other one is probably the record plan. It says survey.
Yeah.
There you go. Scroll out. There
All
you go.
right.
There's the house. There's the road. Bottom of the page would be the road.
Right.
Okay, so if somebody can eyeball the aerial photographs and the wetland maps with respect to this sketch. Just eyeball it. Let's see if we're in the clear, as Ed has suggested.
I think it is.
Okay.
I'm doing my darndest to see if there's anything that looks at all suspicious, and it
Mhm.
seems very high and very dry.
Okay.
It
And it's
was
right
a
next to an
gravel.
old gravel pit.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
gravel area.
Yeah, it's in this general area where all the trees are.
Yeah. But even
Yeah,
looking
is it-
back, like, I can't find any historic records of it being
Yeah.
wet.
Ed, do you have access to elevation data on Google Earth on this?
No. The only mass mapper might have,
Yeah,
but
they have,
remember that elevation up there is pretty high.
yeah, they got 10-foot, they got 3-meter contours, I think. I just want to make sure it's up on the high ground, which I think it is.
Oh, it is. I already looked at all the contours and everything.
It is, okay, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I don't see any
And I looked
problem.
at all the historic topos all the way back to the 1886. So there's
1980.
not even contours going through it. Like, there's no drainage paths that could be passing through the property or near the property.
Okay,
There's
that's all,
intermittent streams.
yeah, it's all pine, so it's probably sandy soil there. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right. Personally, I see
I
no
don't see
issue.
a
I agree
problem.
with Ed.
I second that.
Okay, so we're gonna approve this with no further action?
Yep.
I would say so.
So I move we approve, what is it, 591 Amherst Road?
Amherst Road.
Amherst
Yep.
Road, that's 116. No
Yep.
further action. I'll notify Briggs in the morning if we vote in the affirmative. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Davis. All right, Ed. All right.
Any further discussions? By the way, where's your leach field gonna go, Mr. Blanchard?
What?
Septic field, leach field is in the back,
Yes,
behind the house or in front of the
right
house?
behind the house.
It's gonna be behind the house, Bill.
Okay, so the well's in the front, the leach is in the back, okay.
Well, I've got South Hadley water.
Yeah, you're on District 2's water.
Oh, you are, okay, okay,
This is,
okay,
this is basically showing the sketch of the house.
yeah. Yeah, when are you presenting this to the health department?
Already did.
Well, you gave it to Colleen, but we haven't acted on it yet. So we're gonna actually act on it.
I don't know what else.
Yeah, next Tuesday we'll act on it in the Board of Health, okay, because I'm on both boards, okay. All in favor of approving this, say aye.
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 Opposed? Nothing heard, okay, you're all set. I'll talk to Mr. Briggs in the morning. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay. So now we are on to our new business, the Eversource MIPA filing.
I
Yeah.
don't see.
Yeah, the MIPA filing, that's the expansion of the clear cut zone for the power lines from 125 to 200. Janice, you spoke with Ms. Hughes from DEP.
She's not with DEP. She's MIPA, I think it is.
Okay, so that's a separate agency. And what was her opinion? She wanted us to contact Eversource for any particular questions?
Or she was accepting comments for them so they'd know areas that they needed to prepare for. But she did say that they would also be coming to each town, with necessary permitting.
Because I suspect all the abutters are going to want the opportunity to express their opinion on the proposed clear cut expansion.
Yeah,
And
I
as a-
don't know how that's gonna work. I assume it may just be when they bring in the NOI to the Concom that at that point
Yeah,
it'll happen.
As an aside on the Board of Health, the Board of Health's going to be asking them to provide information on herbicides and other chemicals to be used in the clear cut way. Kevin, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kev, do you know what sort of chemicals these folks use typically? Is it Roundup or something else?
I'd imagine Roundup, and I've never got an answer on what they use. I've always been curious, but I've never even talked to anyone who actually does the work.
Yeah. So you think it might be an organophosphate type herbicide?
My best guess would be Roundup because it works the best. Nothing works
Okay,
like Roundup.
I hear you. Okay, all right. And again, from the health department's perspective, we'd be concerned about proximity to people's wellheads. So we'll be working on that on the BOH. And again, on the commission, we'll be limited to activity within 100-foot of resource areas. But I guess we'll be talking about this quite a bit going forward. And did everyone receive the latest plan set from Eversource? I think, Janice, what is it, 462 pages or something?
It's huge. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
It's a massive file. If you look at it, please use a very large computer screen because otherwise you need a magnifying glass.
Yeah,
It's out there.
that's a lot of stuff. Multiple files.
Yeah. Well, what it is, it's the entire strip from Montague all the way down to Chicopee, I believe. So it
We should
covers
break it out
probably-
for each community, make it easier on the community.
That's right. Exactly correct. That's right. That's right. Okay. Anyway, any other comments on this matter?
This is just a discussion point, right?
That's
Yeah, for
correct.
tonight. Yeah, for tonight it is. Yeah. Okay. Amanda, let's move on to the next. It's 9:12 already.
Yes, it is. Next item is 71 West Street. We already discussed that.
Already done.
That's done. Next one, any other business? Request for a COC, 165-085, 7 Phillips Circle. That was continued.
Nothing
Are we
new.
anywhere with this? Okay, so we're
From
gonna
what I
continue.
see, no birdhouses yet.
Shocker.
Okay.
Site visit determinations.
You just got that one on East Street now.
Yeah,
Is that what?
Yeah, Stamborski, lot 1 next to 48.
well, that's.
Oh, is that what this
1
is? Or
Well,
is this?
Well,
I think the determinations
Revisit
is
application?
results.
that was the commentary that we had on the Maximilian Drive, the Chicopee Street. We met with the Cordera person,
Yeah,
and also Chicopee Street Lot 1 that we reviewed already. Janice and I looked at that site. So we did see 3 sites between this meeting and last meeting, but I think that's what she's referring to when she says site visit determinations.
I think so.
Yeah, Dave and Janice, why don't you guys brief everybody on the Jerry Coder of large parcel?
Okay. Do you want to, Dave, or what?
Well, it's a large parcel of land. It has a street number of, I think, 82, if my recollection, and that's because the house did exist on it at one time. The house is no longer there. It's a vacated farm, and it's got quite a bit of terrain to it. It actually backs up to a lot of properties in that area. It is bordering the Turkey Hill Brook, and it has a wetland. It has wetlands on it, but it also has upland, hardwood uplands on it as well. He's specifically interested in what to do with the frontage along Chicopee Street. He tells us there have been a number of perk tests done that he could subdivide and sell 4 or 5 housing lots that would face Chicopee Street. And but he's also thinking about planting a Christmas tree farm in that area. And he was really, the visit, from my recollection, Janice, he was searching as far as what he might do with it. He did recently buy the property. I did look on Zillow that it was recently sold June 20th. So he is the new owner of it, I guess. And he's most interested in the 8 acres along, because that's the highest property right now. You would have to cross wetlands. There's an intermittent / perennial, it wasn't clear, some sort of a stream that has a bridge over it right now. So you would have to cross that to get to the rest of the property, which is at the bottom of the hill. And so there was, he didn't give us any, he didn't give me any direction as far as how he might use the property. So he was looking for options.
Janice,
What was the
question for you.
address?
92 Chicopee.
92 Chicopee? Okay, sorry.
92. Okay.
Yeah.
Janice,
yeah.
a quick question for you. I kind of know the answer, but I want you to answer it anyway. If he were to go for a 40B subdivision, would that relax any wetland restrictions for him?
No,
I don't know.
I don't think it does, Bill.
Okay,
Not for you.
that's my
Zoning-
understanding.
zoning
That's
bill
my
is-
understanding as well.
Only if you have a bylaw.
I gotcha.
But the other thing is he's done a lot of homework on the Christmas tree plantation. He's talked to the Department of Ag or whatever, and he believes that he can start doing that work without having any Concom approval. And he did have the wetlands delineated by Kevin Brooks a while ago, at least the ones in front, not the ones in back. And so I said, well, you know, you have to be sure that the wetland lines are correct. And if you're outside the 100-foot for that, then okay, you know, you're fine. And he said, yeah, I think I am. So he's sort of anxious to get going on that. He wants to plant like 1,000 a year. And he has a huge, old, overgrown Christmas tree plantation on the property. I don't know, like 80 feet tall or something. They're really huge spruce and
Well,
stuff.
I think I would challenge him on that, Janice. They were
Yeah.
called Christmas trees, but these are long needle white pines. And in my book, those have never been Christmas trees. Plus-
Well, there was some
plus
spruce and
if-
some other stuff, but yeah.
But they were scattered. And
Yeah.
I would challenge him that it was ever a Christmas tree farm. At least
yeah.
it was no Christmas tree farm I've ever heard of. So,
Okay.
So Janice, if he's claiming he could go forward without commission approval, has he shifted the property into 61B yet?
No,
And 61B is forestry, correct?
no, 61B is
61A.
recreational.
Okay, all right. What's forestry, 61 or 61A?
61.
61.
Sometimes they
But he's
blend
still
it
needs
to 61A. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
61A
doesn't
is
mean that you don't need
agriculture.
permits the first time around.
But,
Go ahead again,
well,
Amanda, please.
Yeah.
Just because it's in chapter or like goes into chapter 61, if that was the route, it doesn't mean he doesn't need permits.
Correct.
He still would need some type of permitting if he's within jurisdiction, not like, you know, for everything, but there is a lot of stuff here. There'd likely be crossings necessary, but even if you got a forestry permit, then he'd be good.
And there is what's called a cow pond. It's more like a frog pond now. It's an isolated, appears to be previously excavated because it's really deep in the contours. Pond, very murky. That I don't believe is jurisdictional, just because of its small size.
Well, I
And
thought
that's-
it's a potential vernal pool.
Well,
yes, it
that's
could
true.
be. Yeah.
Yep.
Although it's marked on GIS.
Okay.
Okay. So Janice, so the last communication with Jerry Coder was he's going to pursue his operation with a permit from us or without a permit from us.
He said if he had to, he'd do it without.
Well,
Or
is that-
he'd fight you for it. And I said, all right, well, the commission may fight back, you know.
Well, okay. Well, yeah, you know, you shouldn't threaten commissions. That's
Well,
kind of a stupid thing to do.
Yeah, he's been doing his homework with the farm people and he believes he's on safe ground.
Hey,
And
Bill.
it depends on how close he is. That's all.
Hey,
You know,
Commissioner, this is Ed. Hey, my phone just went to 20% and it went to the red, so I'm gonna be losing power in about.
okay, yeah,
next
we're gonna
5 minutes.
close out anyway. We don't want to discuss, but again, I guess he could go forest cutting plan, Janice, to at least clear the place out. But after he does forest cutting plan, he's probably gonna have to file a permit going forward.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But like Dave
And then,
says,
like,
as
he
long-
would just
as
need
long as
one.
as long as he's planting all his little trees clearly greater than, say 200 feet from any resource area, just to be super safe. Well, again, he's got that Turkey Hill Brook, which we know is a cold water fishery. That's another issue in itself. But as long as he's several hundred feet from any resource area, he can clearly do what he wants.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
But I'm seeing that depicted on the plan that Dave has in front of us, right? Is that Turkey Hill Brook, that little rivulet there?
That's Turkey Hill Brook, and his property line basically follows Turkey Hill Brook. So as you can see, Chicopee Street is right at the bottom of your screen here. So.
Oh, I see.
I think he's within that 200 foot.
Oh, yeah.
And this.
Yeah.
Oh, he definitely is.
Oh, yes. From that brook
two.
to the edge of the street is 200 feet. So that means that is verboten right off the bat, right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
But again, like once we got an NOI, if he went that route, he would then be able to do the agricultural exemptions moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when you start a new operation, you need a permit. After that, you have the agricultural exemptions to rely on.
That's right. So you need a permit up front, and then you can go on your 5-year windows forevermore. I got you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, he wouldn't even have to come back, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if he was out of operation for a period greater than 5 years, he'd have to go back to square one. But as long as he doesn't have a period where he's not doing anything in a 5-year window, he's good to go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, it's 9:22, folks. Ed's phone died. I'm tired. Everyone else has to get up in the morning.
Okay, the only thing.
I think we have to pay Janice.
Okay,
Oh,
and
yes.
Emily.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we got to go through the payments for Janice and
Yeah,
Emily.
And what about
That seems
Muncie
pretty
Ridge
critical.
and the application procedures?
Oh,
Dave, why don't you rattle through the bills, please?
Well, the Janice Stone bills you're talking about for July?
Yes. Two
And
Janice
Emily.
Stone bills.
Yeah.
The telephone and her time, and Emily Stockman from January.
All right, let me find them.
Thank you.
You sent them out, Janice?
Yes, I think it was this morning or last night.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, guys, I'm down to 15%, so I'm gonna scatter. It's all
Okay,
this.
Ed, thank you. Thanks for going there, Ed. Thank you. Thank Kevin. Thank you, guys.
Bye, Kevin. You're
Keep
all.
in contact. Okay, bye.
I'm trying.
I think it just says bills.
Did I see? I'm just gonna trying to get there. Right.
I mean, I could do it.
Why not?
Okay,
You've
so I
got it.
have the bills for July 2022 hours for Janice. 26.5 hours of work for the Granby Commission for July 2022. Please remit $662.50.
Trouble with
I make a motion. Bill, are you talking?
I'm
You're on
talking.
mute.
Which
Yeah,
one?
I was unmuted. I'm sorry. Yeah, I second Amanda's payment request for Janice for 600 and how many?
$662.50.
662.50. Second.
Second, Dave. I've got to be rating here.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? I don't hear anything. And then I've
Okay.
got,
Approved. So that was July that you just said?
that was the July.
Yep.
Okay.
Now
Let's
the
do
August Verizon, which is $35.
Yeah, I move we pay Janice $35 for the August 2022 Verizon bill.
Okay. Approved. Or I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And lastly, Emily Stockman from January for Eversource.
Here. $750.
Yep.
I move we pay Emily $750 for her work on Eversource electric project from back in January.
Dave will second it.
And
All
does that come
approved?
out of a different account? If you have to say what account it is or anything or
Yeah,
not?
it's the escrow account. It's the 4453G Eversource escrow account. All in favor of payment?
Approved.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's it. That takes care of that, folks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
now you
lastly,
want to the application review?
yeah, Janice and Dave worked on this. I think Kathy had an issue with us not getting information
enough
into her in a
time.
timely fashion for the reminder.
And what was passed out today, basically she's asking that we can keep the 2 weeks prior, that's important, but she needs the information by Friday before the 2 weeks. So we would go 2 weeks out, and then that would be the deadline, is the Friday before. Now, what she also added was that they need at least 2 paper copies. In other words, in the third paragraph down where we talk about an applicant can submit 9 paper copies of all application documents. They can also submit 2 paper copies along with the digital format. So again, that's a language change. And she also suggested,
I would prefer to do the 2 copies and the digital. Like, we really need the digital.
that's what it's saying though. We're not changing that.
No, but it
Okay.
says or.
Yeah, that's because
They've
DEP told
asked
us that we had to.
We had to put the paper in there, Amanda. So these are issues, these are meetings that you missed, and it was all documented in the minutes. But the state wrote us a letter that we had to ask and maintain that an applicant can submit paper copies only without any digital format. But if they do that, they have to give us 9 copies.
Okay.
And that's
I heard other stuff from DEP, so that's why I'm confused.
well, this is from the guy. This is from the guy from Springfield. So
Yeah.
Is he new?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's new,
Okay.
but that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Okay. That's really
So
weird.
and
Okay.
and this 2 paper copies comes from Kathy Leonard saying we need to have something for the town. And then the last thing is we needed to identify that somebody will be always at the old Carnegie Library. If we continue to have these virtual meetings, we do need to announce that somebody will be at the Carnegie Library all the time. So that's why in this last paragraph down here, we added in person. So, and we've been able to do that with Kevin or Ed have always been gracious to do that for us. So. But those are the changes. And then Kathy added, she did some homework and actually identified all of our future meetings up through December and identified the drop dead date of that Friday with an actual date. So, and that.
Oh, nice.
We could.
Oh, that's good, Dave. Thank you.
We could add to that. I mean, this application procedure could be in front of that date sheet.
Yeah. Seems good.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Janice.
Okay.
Well, it's mostly Dave.
Thanks for your work on that.
Okay.
So you got to
All right.
vote on that?
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept, and this is identified as the August 2022 application procedure with modifications as noted.
Second.
Okay. Any further comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? We've lost a few people, so. Okay, the motion carries, so I'll make sure, I'll take out the red and I'll make sure Kathy gets this updated procedure copy. And the last
Excellent.
thing,
Dave, here's the question. Who's responsible for putting these documents on our town website?
Kathy.
Kathy is.
Does she do it in a timely fashion?
No. I mean, at least in my opinion, it's not been timely. And the reason the Dropbox conversation came up is because of exactly what I go through, and I've seen others go through when somebody walks into the room, or even if we're looking at our agenda and we're trying to look at documents that have been submitted to us, we're, at least in my case, we're looking all through our emails. We can't find things in a logical and sensible location. So I know, Bill, you're having heartburn with the Dropbox, but I don't know any other way to do it. So unless you have a better solution, we're coming off, I think we're looking very unprofessional to the community.
No, I agree.
When we're looking.
Anyway. Dave, could you call Colleen Aberdale at the Board of Health?
Colleen?
Yeah, it's 467-7178, because for some reason she puts things together. She puts about 25 items together sequentially in PDF and sends them out to everybody before our meeting. And it's extremely well organized. And I'm wondering if we could maybe do the same as she does. And she does not use Dropbox.
Okay.
So ask Colleen, maybe there's a trick that she uses to get it done, but she does it every week and it comes out beautifully. And the nice thing about it, it's in sequence. So you just go through the sequence. So it's agenda sequenced, which is nice.
That's helpful.
Right.
Do you have walk-ins at your clinic, at your meetings?
No, we're all virtual.
No, I mean, okay, you don't have anybody like our building permit people, they just show up on the day we're having a meeting. And
yeah, see, that's the problem with that procedure. No, but our Board of Health meetings are totally virtual. There's absolutely nobody in the office.
All right, well, good example is 591 Amherst Road. Mr. Blanchard really came to our meeting, but he was totally unprepared. And I think nobody, he didn't have any guidance.
Listen, we were totally blindsided by that project. We did him a great favor. Janice, in your travels, South Hadley, Shutesbury, what do towns typically do with people that come in at the last second on those?
We don't deal with walk-ins, and people can come in, but we said, especially in South Hadley, right on the agenda, they can come in like the first half hour, but we do not make any decisions at that time. We just take the information for a later decision.
Yeah, we got to think about employing that tactic, because it's 9:33 right now, and I believe that event essentially wasted 30 minutes of our time tonight.
Or more.
At least 30 minutes.
Yeah. So
Especially
why doesn't everybody think about how to handle that? I would not be opposed at all to make him make some sort of formal submission instead of blindsiding us at the last instant.
Right. That was.
I don't understand what the reach out process is in town to get assistance prior to the meeting. Because like as an agent, that was my role, was I would deal with all the calls and emails, and I would make them get ready or do whatever had to be done.
What should happen? What should happen is Kathy should contact one of us, and then we should say, contact Janice, work with Janice a few days before the meeting to get all your ducks in a row. Then Janice can get everything organized, even if it's a building permit app set, even if it's not a wetlands permit. But at least that way we're not blindsided at the last minute when someone comes waltzing in.
Yeah. When I was in a week ago on Tuesday, Greg Briggs was there and Kathy was there, and I asked, do we have any building permit applications that we're going to have to look at? And they said, no, there are a couple things that are coming up, but nothing's here yet. So I said, okay, well, we'd like to know in advance, when that happens. And I never heard anything from anyone. So I don't know when these other things popped up.
I'm of the opinion that nobody should be allowed. I mean, obviously it's a public meeting, everybody's welcome, but we shouldn't be looking at a 591 Amherst Road and trying to give the applicant an opinion on the same night we're hearing about it. And That just should not happen.
I agree, Dave. I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
So let's figure that out. And I will reach out to Colleen Abagnale. Is that her name?
Aberdale.
Aberdale. Okay.
Yeah. Janice, could you make sure on our next meeting in September, we have a little discussion on the agenda for this very matter? Essentially, just say issues involving walk-in applicants. Yeah, because this has to stop. This has to stop. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, especially if Board of Health don't have to do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so should we bother with something about Munson Ridge? We should at least tell Amanda she's the only person new.
Yeah, we have to, so I can enter it into the notes. So we have to talk about.
Why don't you guys brief Amanda on what happened that night with the selectmen?
Dave, do you want to do it? Or do you want me to?
I'll start,
Okay.
Janice, and then you can fill in my gaps, which I know there'll be.
I got it.
The Munson Ridge people attended, and planning board, not a planning board, a select board meeting on August the 1st. We were invited, myself, Ed Champlain, Janice, and Bill showed up. And the frustration that they have is the phase 2 of the Munson Ridge development, a conservation restriction, has been developed, and it was submitted to us as a body February in 2020. Of course, COVID happened, everything stopped. And it's been 2 years now, and there's been, other than minor discussion, no action by this commission on that body, on that CR, we're calling it. So even though there was a lot of conversation about why and how come and what's going on, the long and the short, the decision that came out of that meeting was the commission stated that we have to walk the site, and the site currently is not staked, it's not marked, and we're unable to identify, without knowing somehow where the markings are, to do any sort of site inspection. So they admitted that they pushed back initially, but they finally agreed that they will flag the perimeter of the conservation restriction area every 50 feet, I believe they said, or was it just the corners? And then we would have Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay, now.
Oh, yes, Dave, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I've been babbling here and you guys can't hear me. I don't know did you hear any of what I said?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah, you just muted the last 5 seconds. You're fine.
Oh, all right. Anyway, the short of it is I saw an email basically from the lawyer representing the Munson Ridge applicant saying that the property is going to be staked in the next 3 weeks or 3 days. And they're asking, did some of the commissioners do a site visit while they are there to flag it? I did not see any rebuttal on our part as far as did we want to attend or would we prefer to go by ourselves? So how's that, Janice? Does that kind of hit everything? At least the action spots. I think you had a list of more, but a lot of those
if I could interject, the whole basis is we have to generate what's known as a baseline report, a baseline report, and that's demanded by EOEA, the parent organization to DEP. It's not that we want to do it; we're actually obligated to generate a baseline report. And the problem is
we are.
Yes.
Oh yes, we are. Oh yes, we are.
Why?
And here's that's part of the shtick. When you get a CR, you got to do a baseline report to make sure the land you're absorbing doesn't have any obvious flaws to it, i.e., mattresses, bicycles, oil tanks, junk like that. So we got to do a walk around.
It shouldn't be on our dime. Because we
Well,
need a
actually,
professional
it is
report.
on our dime. It is on our dime. That's the problem. Because if we hired a consultant, say at $10,000 to do this, it'd be coming out of our account or the taxpayer's account in Granby. And I don't think the taxpayer wants to pay for that. So I said, listen, we'll do our own.
Framingham, that's not how it works.
We'll take our own photographs and we'll go from there.
Okay. I just,
Unfortunately, we had back and forth on this. I think this is totally out of line, making the town pay for this. But the way the document was written and signed off by EOEA, we're obligated to actually produce that baseline report.
Yep.
but I thought this was the result of the water quality certification.
Well, it's part of the, it's part of the 401 process.
Which is,
and
but that's
part of the
DEP, it's not
rationale is,
us.
here's the thing, Amanda. Part of the rationale is if we let the grantor, namely Mike Pio and company, do the baseline report, they would probably hire someone to do it on the cheap, and they would probably do a very sloppy job. At least if we're in control of the baseline report, whether or not we retain a firm to do it or we do it internally, at least we know that we're going to go out there and do a diligent job. It's a little bit of work for us. They will mark every 30 feet with orange flags. It will be a good, we can do a walk around there. But again, unless we have.
Who's going to do this? I know I have absolutely no time to do anything.
Oh, no. It'll be Dave.
So it's like, who's going to do all this work?
The commission will do this.
Bill and David and I.
I'll donate my time to do this for the town. That's not a problem.
And it's two
I
parcels
just don't
of
think we
land.
should have
It's not
to. It's
everything.
not fair.
Yeah, that's the way it's written up, though, is that the grantee is responsible for the baseline report. And
Yeah, I
like Bill
can't
said, we're just
believe
trying
they
to
wrote it
save
up
the
that way.
town money.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I feel like,
I
they should have
agree.
been providing us with much better support as a small town. We didn't have lawyers to make sure that we weren't getting saddled with this.
I agree. Yeah, we're in the select board's meeting. Our attorney, Brian O'Toole, was there, and that's the way it reads, unfortunately. So anyway, that's kind of where we stand with this, Amanda.
Okay.
Yep.
It
So
is
we're
what it
waiting
is.
to. So do you guys want to attend any of that marking of the boundaries, or should we just go out afterwards?
Oh, no, let them do the marking themselves. And as long as we go out there and can find the flags. In fact, what you should do, Janice, is invite one of their people when we do our walk around. So at least they'll know where to take us to. Again, they'll confirm the accuracy of the perimeter flags when we do the walk around. Yeah, I'd rather not go out there unaccompanied.
Good. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, folks. So that's what transpired a week ago.
I will assume the minutes from our last meeting have been approved. Bill, you had looked at them and said they were fine. Janice actually did give me a few corrections, which I thank her for.
Yep.
And
there are a couple of typos, no problem.
Yeah. And I will forward that to Kathy for publication.
Okay.
You need to vote on that or not?
It's 9:45. I move we adjourn for tonight.
Yes.
Okay, 10:45.
Second.